In a world that constantly measures success by the amount of work we put in, the jobs we hold, and the titles we acquire, there is a deeper calling that many feel but few understand. This message is for those who have always felt like they didn't quite fit into the conventional mold, those who have been searching for something more, something beyond the daily grind and the pursuit of a paycheck. You are not alone, and you are not lost. If you've ever questioned why traditional career paths feel empty, or why you can't seem to find satisfaction in roles that the world celebrates, this message is for you. For many, the idea of finding a good job is the ultimate goal. We're taught from a young age to follow a predictable path, go to school, earn a degree, secure a job, climb the corporate ladder, and eventually retire. It's a script that society has written for us, but it doesn't fit everyone. In fact, for some, it feels suffocating. This path doesn't account for the unique gifts, the divine callings, and the deeper purposes that exist within those who are destined for something far greater. And this is where the concept of the chosen one comes in. The chosen ones are those who are destined not to blend in, but to stand out, to break away from the ordinary, to lead from a place of divine purpose, and to inspire others by living authentically. If you've ever felt like an outsider, even in the most familiar places, chances are you've been called to do something that the world doesn't quite understand. Perhaps you've been running from your purpose, feeling like it's not practical or that you need to conform to the expectations of society. But deep down, you know there's something more. God is calling you, not to chase after jobs like the world does, but to step fully into your divine gift. Your purpose is not to fill someone else's dream, it's to awaken and ignite the light within you, and to use that light to guide others. The traditional systems that the world promotes were never made for you. They weren't designed to support the divine gifts you carry. If you've ever felt exhausted at the thought of taking another job or following someone else's agenda, it's because your soul knows that you were made for something far greater. This is not just a motivational speech, but a divine intervention, an invitation to step into alignment with your true purpose. You have been chosen for a reason, and that reason is far bigger than any job title the world can give you. It's time to stop chasing stability through jobs and start embracing your divine assignment, trusting that as you walk in purpose, everything you need will be provided. This is the moment where your soul's calling aligns with divine action. Welcome to the rise of the chosen ones. Have you ever felt like you don't belong? Like no matter how hard you try to fit in, something inside of you rebels against the world's expectations? Maybe you've tried following the well-trodden path that everyone else seems to be on, school, work, promotions, retirement, only to find that, no matter how successful it looks from the outside, it feels hollow inside. This is not a sign that something is wrong with you. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a sign that you are being called by something higher, something greater, a purpose beyond what the world can offer. The divine call you're feeling isn't a mistake. It's the voice of God guiding you towards something unique, something that only you can fulfill. From the moment you were born, a divine purpose was placed in you, a calling that sets you apart from the rest. This calling may not always make sense in the context of traditional careers or societal expectations, but it is the true blueprint for your life. God has a plan for you, one that doesn't require you to conform to the world's limited view of success. You see, the world defines success in terms of external achievements, a good job, a big house, a stable income. But the divine definition of success is different. It's about alignment with your purpose, about fulfilling the role that only you can play in this world. The chosen ones are those who carry a gift, a light, a mission that can't be contained in any job title. You were never meant to simply survive, you were meant to thrive in your divine purpose. And that purpose is far more significant than any 9-to-5 position or societal role. The divine call can often feel like a nagging whisper, a pull within your soul that you can't ignore, even when the world tells you to follow the safe, secure path. It's not the voice of rebellion, it's the voice of truth. It's the call to step out of the box the world has put you in and step into the fullness of your divine assignment. It's not always easy to hear over the noise of expectations, pressures, and the constant chase for external validation. But if you're listening closely, you'll realize that this inner resistance is actually divine redirection, God calling you to move in a direction that is in perfect alignment with your true purpose. This divine call often comes with a feeling of discomfort, as it challenges everything you've been taught about success. It's not easy to abandon the pursuit of a job that promises security, especially when you've been taught that a steady paycheck is the ultimate sign of stability. But remember, the chosen ones are not meant to be tied down by the world's standards. They are meant to live freely, in the flow of their divine purpose, and trust that provision will follow when they walk in alignment with their calling. The world we live in often measures worth by external markers, jobs, titles, promotions, and paychecks. From a young age, we're taught that success is defined by climbing the corporate ladder, securing a stable job, and living according to society's standards. This narrative is so ingrained in us that it can be difficult to see beyond it. But for the chosen ones, this pursuit of traditional work and worldly validation doesn't feel right. Something within them resists the idea of fitting into a system designed to organize labor rather than honor divine purpose. And if you're one of the chosen ones, you've probably felt it, the discomfort, the misalignment, and the constant feeling that something more is waiting for you. Traditional jobs, while essential in many ways, are built on systems that were never created with people like you in mind. They are designed to organize labor, to structure people into predictable, manageable roles within society. But if you're someone who carries a divine gift, a unique purpose, this structure feels more like a cage than a career. You may find yourself suffocating in an office, under the weight of bureaucracy, or trapped in a repetitive routine that drains your soul. The more you chase after these worldly markers of success, the more you might feel like your spirit is being dimmed, your gifts suppressed, and your purpose buried under the weight of tasks that don't resonate with who you truly are. The truth is, you were never meant to fit into the mold of a traditional job. You were created for a higher purpose, a purpose that transcends titles, paychecks, and societal approval. And the more you try to force yourself into roles that don't align with your divine calling, the more resistance you'll feel. This isn't a sign that you're lazy or ungrateful. It's a sign that your soul is rejecting the confines of a world that wasn't designed to support your true potential. Many people in the world are content to follow the traditional path because it offers stability and familiarity. But for you, the chosen one, there's an underlying sense of dissatisfaction that no paycheck can fix. You may have tried to conform, to blend in, but deep down, you've always known that there's something more. You felt it in the quiet moments, in the spaces between jobs, in the pauses when you're away from the noise of the world. Your soul is calling you to step out, to stop settling, and to start honoring your divine assignment. Traditional jobs can be incredibly draining, especially for those with a divine calling. They focus on productivity and efficiency, often at the expense of creativity, passion, and spiritual growth. The world tells you to hustle, to work hard, and to strive for more. But for the chosen ones, the hustle is not the answer. The path you've been called to requires a different kind of energy, one that comes from divine alignment, not from effort and struggle. The more you force yourself into roles that diminish your gifts, the more you're disconnected from your true calling. It's time to let go of the illusion that a job will fulfill you. Jobs are meant to organize the labor force, but they are not meant to fulfill your soul. Your true purpose isn't found in someone else's agenda. It's found in the gifts God has placed within you. When you stop chasing after jobs that drain your spirit, and instead, begin to focus on your divine calling, you'll realize that provision doesn't come from a paycheck. It comes from walking in alignment with your purpose. So, if you're feeling dissatisfied in your job, if the work you're doing doesn't light you up or make you feel alive, trust that this is not a reflection of your work ethic, but a sign that you are being called to something greater. The world's systems will never fully understand or support the unique gifts you carry, but heaven has already prepared a space for you. You were never meant to chase jobs, you were meant to chase your divine calling, knowing that everything you need will come as you step into your purpose. It's time to let go of the illusion of traditional work and embrace the truth. You are not here to serve a system. You are here to fulfill a divine mission. If you've ever felt an intense discomfort when trying to fit into the expectations of the world, you're not alone. For many chosen ones, traditional jobs, societal standards, and the constant chase for external validation feel unnatural. This discomfort isn't a flaw or a sign of inadequacy, it's divine resistance, a sacred call from within to break free from the world's expectations and step into your divine purpose. The more you try to force yourself into the systems and structures that the world celebrates, the more your soul resists. This resistance is not only natural but necessary for your spiritual growth. The world has a specific rhythm, one that prioritizes hustle, competition, and the constant need to prove oneself. It tells you that success comes from working long hours, climbing the corporate ladder, and following a set, predictable path. But the chosen ones are not meant to follow this rhythm. You were not created to measure your worth by how busy you are or how much money you make. You were created to walk to a different beat, the rhythm of divine flow. And when you try to force yourself into systems that don't honor that flow, something in your spirit begins to shut down. This feeling of resistance, this internal conflict, is the Holy Spirit's way of saying, this is not your path. This resistance might feel uncomfortable, especially when the world tells you to push harder, keep grinding, and keep striving for more. But it's in these moments of tension that your soul is trying to protect you. It's trying to shield you from a life of exhaustion, burnout, and disconnection from your true calling. The resistance you feel is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of divine strength, a reminder that you are not meant to bend to the world's will. You are being redirected, realigned, and refined for something greater. It's easy to mistake this resistance for laziness or a lack of drive. People around you may not understand why you're not hustling the way they do. They may question why you're not following the same path everyone else is on. They may even label you as inconsistent, unmotivated, or unrealistic. But the truth is, you are not unmotivated, you are divinely guided. What looks like resistance to others is actually alignment with a higher purpose. God is calling you to something that transcends what the world values. When you resist the world's demands, you are actually choosing to honor your soul's purpose. It's in these moments of divine resistance that you begin to shed the expectations that have been placed on you by others. You begin to unlearn the belief that you have to hustle for survival, that you have to conform to the norms of society in order to be successful. Instead, you embrace the truth that your divine assignment will be fulfilled not through force, but through faith, obedience, and trust in God's timing. Divine resistance also acts as a protection mechanism. It shields you from entering situations or taking on opportunities that might seem good on the surface but are not aligned with your calling. Sometimes, a seemingly perfect job or opportunity may appear, but deep inside, you feel a sense of unease. This is the Holy Spirit's way of warning you that this path may not be for you. It's not always easy to discern, but when you feel resistance, it's important to listen. God is calling you to walk in a way that doesn't require you to compromise your soul or your divine purpose. The more you surrender to this divine resistance, the clearer your path will become. You will begin to see that what the world calls failure or unrealistic is actually spiritual growth in motion. You are not meant to chase jobs, you are meant to walk in divine purpose, and that purpose will lead you to the right opportunities. You won't need to chase success when you are aligned with your calling. Success will find you, and it will come not through striving but through surrender. One of the most powerful and transformative things you can do as a chosen one is to walk in obedience. Obedience, in the context of divine purpose, is not simply about following rules or doing what is expected. It is about surrendering to a higher calling, trusting in God's timing, and stepping into the fullness of what you were born to do. This is a key difference between the world's view of success, which often emphasizes hustle, effort, and external validation, and the divine blueprint for your life, which is based on alignment, trust, and spiritual flow. Obedience is the pathway that leads you to your divine assignment. It is the key to unlocking doors that the world's systems cannot open. When you obey God's direction, even when it seems risky or unclear, you are positioning yourself to receive divine provision. This is the beautiful paradox of obedience. By stepping out in faith and trusting God's guidance, you create space for blessings and opportunities to flow into your life in ways that worldly efforts could never achieve. The journey of obedience often doesn't make sense at first. It may seem like taking a step back when everyone else is pushing forward, or resting when the world tells you to keep working. You might be called to start something small, something that doesn't bring instant results or financial gain. But don't be fooled, obedience is not always about immediate outcomes. It is about aligning yourself with God's timing and trusting that He will provide what you need in His perfect time. Obedience can feel uncomfortable, especially when it goes against the grain of societal expectations. You may feel the pull to leave a job that seems stable but is draining your spirit, or to start a project that no one understands but that has been stirring in your heart for years. These moments of obedience may look like risk to the world, but they are actually steps toward divine alignment. Heaven's rhythm does not follow the world's fast-paced, results-driven culture. It moves slowly, purposefully, and with precision. When you walk in obedience, you begin to synchronize your actions with the divine flow, and that's when miracles happen. The beauty of obedience is that it removes the pressure to perform. The world will tell you that you need to hustle harder, to keep pushing, and to prove your worth. But when you trust God's plan, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Obedience frees you from the weight of self-doubt and the constant need to compare yourself to others. You don't have to chase opportunities. When you obey, those opportunities will chase you. Your provision will come not because you worked harder than anyone else, but because you walked in alignment with the purpose God has set for you. As the world continues to evolve, so too does the way we think about success, work, and purpose. For too long, society has defined prosperity and abundance through the lens of material wealth, job titles, and the constant hustle for more. But for the chosen ones, this old system is crumbling. You are being called into a new economy, one not built on competition, scarcity, and survival, but on purpose, alignment, and spiritual abundance. This new economy doesn't measure success by how many hours you work or how much money you make. Instead, it measures success by the impact you have, the peace you carry, and the divine flow you operate in. The world's economy tells us that we need to work for someone else, follow their rules, and trade our time for money. It teaches us that if we want to survive, we must constantly hustle, climb the corporate ladder, and prove our worth. But this model is flawed, especially for those who are chosen. You are not meant to live in a system that rewards exhaustion and compromises your spirit. You were born to create from a place of divine alignment, where your work is an extension of your purpose, and your provision comes directly from God. In this new spiritual economy, success doesn't come from external validation. It comes from walking in your divine calling, using your gifts to serve others, and trusting that provision will follow. When you begin to operate from a place of purpose, you'll notice that opportunities don't have to be chased, they are drawn to you. People, resources, and ideas will begin to flow toward you naturally, not because you hustled for them, but because you are aligned with the divine flow. This spiritual economy is not about competing for limited resources or fighting for a spot at the top. It's about collaborating, creating, and sharing in abundance. As you step into your purpose and begin using your divine gifts, you contribute to the collective growth and healing of the world. And in turn, your abundance is multiplied. This is the true meaning of spiritual abundance, not just the material wealth that the world values, but the richness of living in alignment with God's plan for your life. The beauty of this new economy is that it operates on a different set of principles. It is not driven by fear, scarcity, or the need to prove yourself. Instead, it is fueled by trust, obedience, and alignment. You no longer need to compete for a piece of the pie because in this spiritual economy, there is more than enough for everyone. The resources you need will always be available when you are operating from a place of purpose and divine alignment. In this economy, the value you bring is tied to the unique gifts and talents that only you can offer. The world may tell you that you need a fancy degree or a prestigious job title to be valuable, but God's economy operates differently. Your value is not defined by the world's standards, but by the divine purpose within you. When you walk in obedience, you unlock the full potential of your gifts, and the world begins to take notice. The doors that once seemed closed will open for you, not because of your resume or experience. It's important to understand that in this new economy, you are not required to strive for success. You don't need to burn yourself out or sacrifice your peace to achieve your goals. Instead, you move with the flow of divine timing, trusting that as you step into your calling, everything you need will be provided. This doesn't mean that you won't face challenges or moments of uncertainty, but even in those moments, you will have the assurance that God is guiding you every step of the way. This is the new economy that the chosen ones are being called into, an economy where your value is based on your obedience, your purpose, and your alignment with God's will. It's a place where abundance flows freely because it is rooted in spiritual truth, not worldly standards. As you step into this new economy, you will begin to see that success isn't about working harder, but about working smarter, from a place of divine purpose and alignment.